I had LaMelo over Haliburton, and I made that quote that went viral earlier this year, saying that I don't think it's close, and I would much rather have a LaMelo Ball than a Tyrese Haliburton. I'm wrong. I was wrong. Again, I think LaMelo has more talent. I think Haliburton has proved to be the better player. For whatever that's worth. Haliburton is a winner. He plays the game the right way. He approaches the game with confidence, professionalism. His team loves him and backs him. His team wins. They compete. And he is the head of the snake. You can't argue against it. With all this being said, I never said Haliburton was a bad basketball player. Let's make this clear. Because I've always been on record. You don't just get handed out max contracts. They don't give them out for free. Otherwise, everyone would have one. You don't get handed out an all-star game. And you don't get handed out an invite to go play in the Olympic team. Were there a player or two that could have been over him? Sure, maybe. We can argue this every year. But to even be in the mix, let alone be in the team, you got to be a bad dude. Okay? So let's just make it clear. Haliburton's a stud of a basketball player. Just so we always know, we know, and I've always known that. But I did have players over him. And there has been a large group of people in the NBA, including media, who have viewed Haliburton as overrated because he went on that stretch a year or two ago when they went to the last year when they went to the in-season tournament, all these different things, and he was dynamite. And the standard became that level of play because that's what we thought the guard we were getting. After that, he took a dramatic slide.
He was injured, though.
He took a dramatic slide. Okay, if we're not going to give excuses to LaMelo, call it spade for spade. Yeah, he had injuries, but if you're out on the court, you're out there on the court. Then don't play then. He then follows that up with this season. He didn't play well. He didn't make the All-Star game. After being on the Olympic gold medal team, he didn't make the All-Star game. So at that point, my feelings were justified in taking a younger, more talented LaMelo Ball over him. What Haliburton has done is taken all this negativity, whether it's, I don't want to say I've given him negativity. I did say another player was better than him, so sure.
I mean, no, there was a poll done that he was the most overrated player.
Yeah,
by
I wasn't a part of that poll, by the way, but I did say I'd take a LaMelo. That's the only thing I've ever said regarding Haliburton. And I've said that he hasn't had a good year, which he didn't have a good year. That's facts. He is only, just taking the bar and throwing it up.
And he plays his best in the most clutch moments, obviously. That's a whole other thing, too.
To piggyback off what Pausha just said, you couldn't have said it any better. My favorite thing about the young man is that you could say the regular season he didn't play well or this. Whether it was the in-season tournament last year, the playoffs, this year's playoffs, when the pressure is at its highest, this young man performs. He just does. I have a steady, there's been a steady diet of him dominating in pressure situations. He has played his best basketball when his team has needed him, whether it's him hitting game winners, him drives off Giannis to seal games, defensive plays, running an offense, playing with tempo, defending. He has worn out the competition so far. He wore out the Bucks. And if you look at his statistics, they might not jump off the screen. You have to watch him play and the control he has over the game. He just the game is at his pace. This Cavs series, 2-0. Again, Garland's not playing. Hunter's not playing. Mobley didn't play last game. They're down bad right now. But the pace in both games, even game one, was Pacers. Haliburton controls the entire pace. And then when he comes off the bench, or when he goes to the bench, Nembhard comes in and does the same damn thing. They got two starting point guards on one team. And they have absolutely ran through the East so far. Haliburton's been impressive. And since that overrated poll has come out, he has only just delivered and told people to shut up. Not with his words, with his actions. In fact, he's been incredibly humble about it. He's alluded to, hey man, listen, obviously, it doesn't feel good getting these things, but I'm just, I don't focus on the negativity. I'm just going to keep playing. And he said all the right answers. And he's just gone out there and played. So to circle this and end this, definitely wrong about Haliburton. Always thought he was a good player. I did think he was a little bit overrated. I didn't agree with him being on the Olympic team. He follows that up with not being an all-star. I then doubled down and I was like, bro, I'd much rather have a LaMelo than Haliburton. I was wrong.
How much of that is due to his style of play and the way his game looks, his shot, his
I think a lot of
everything.
it does matter. I think his shot and everything, the way his game is, his bag work is not traditional. It's not clean or it's not pretty looking. And then you backed it with his numbers earlier this year. You're like, man, this guy ain't really that good.
Right.
Not really that good. He's not as good as advertised. He's always been a good player. Let me be careful with my words here. He has only proven everyone wrong, including myself.
Yeah.
And I would be remiss to admit that watching him play in the playoffs, there's a giant gap between him and LaMelo. And it's not talent, because LaMelo does things you can't teach, bro.
Couldn't you say like Stephon Marbury is more talented than Jason Kidd, two players that were traded for each other?
True.
Exactly. But so sometimes it's not about that raw talent that you're talking about.
100%. But mind you, if Haliburton's not performing at a level like he was earlier this year, I would probably go with the game. Remember, LaMelo started out hot. Remember, he had like 4 games in a row with 40. Everybody was like, this is...
Yeah.
So I was going LaMelo. Yeah. I was like, this is his year. This guy's going to really get this team to the playoffs or like, blah, blah, blah. And it just didn't go nowhere. It just dropped off.
Right.
And the way he plays has not presented anything to do with winning so far.
My favorite thing about Haliburton is that not only does he score when he needs to, but he gets everyone else involved.
He's really
fun to play with. Guys like Nembhard, Siakam, Neesmith, all these guys get to go off while Haliburton still gets his. But he just looks really fun to play with. I don't know if you could say that right now about a young LaMelo. That's another thing too.
We can't say that yet. Yeah. Again, I don't know how much of that is roster or organization. But you could argue if you gave Haliburton at one point, like a Brandon Miller and some of these other guys that he has, I'm confident that Haliburton would get more wins.
Yeah.
And his style of play, no matter how pretty it is or not, has translated to winning. And he has proven a lot of people wrong, including myself. I thought he was good. I didn't think he was this good. And I thought he had an impact on the game. I didn't think he could control the game the way he's controlling it. I got to give him credit. And the biggest surprise for me is his closing ability. I never saw him as that. In fact, I was on record earlier this year saying they can't close a game without Pascal closing it for him.
Yeah.
I was like, Haliburton's not even the best player on his team. It's Pascal Siakam. The last play of the game, they put the ball in his hands. That has totally switched. End of the game, they throw that man the ball and get out the way. And he has been closing. Not one game, not the game before. Every goddamn game that's close, Haliburton pretty much is closed.
When he got that offensive rebound against the Cavs and saw Ty Jerome
was
on him.
He had Ty Jerome on him as Christmas.
Yeah.
I would give Ty, and I like Ty Jerome. I give Ty Jerome 30 now.
That's somebody that we have been celebrating all year, man. It's tough to see him struggling.
He's struggling right now.
Because all we kept saying is when the playoffs come around, this guy could really make some money.
And that is a prime example. It's a prime example of knowing your role. Knowing your role. Not saying he doesn't.
Yeah.
But Garland's out. Hunter's out. They need more scoring. Naturally, now this guy's like playing like a shooting guard. He's coming off the pick and roll every time to score. He shot 17 shots in game 1, 20 shots in game 1. Yeah. Last game, he shot 17. He's putting up attempts.
Yeah.
Again, they got guys down. Okay? But that's not what people want Ty Jerome doing.
So there's some backups that could come in like a Peyton Pritchard and give you 20 with the starters. And there's some backups that they're better off with their 20 minutes with the second unit running the show doing that.
Exactly. That doesn't mean Ty Jerome's not capable. I've seen him plenty times this year have 20. I've seen him have 30.
Right.
He could score the ball. But consistently in the playoffs versus the top tier teams, no. If you have Ty Jerome shooting 20 shots on your team, you ain't winning no games, dog. No disrespect.
Yeah.
17 shots, that's not his role. I like when he scores and makes and runs an offense, and it's like a nice little, he gets a solid increment of minutes a half. He gets 8 minutes a half, 16 to 20 something minutes a game. Give him some control. He's going to have 12, 13.
One of those guys that you like for 20 minutes, not 30.
Yes. I want Ty Jerome for 20 minutes, not 35.
Yeah.
Okay? I want him 12 points, 4 or 5 assists, 3 rebounds, a steal. That's a good game, what I need from Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome shooting 20 shots, 17 shots, out here trying to guard Nembhard and Haliburton at the end of the game is a problem. All right? They've been wearing him out. And it ain't just been Tyrese. Nembhard been having his way too. Their statistics together are appalling. They got like one turnover between them, meaning nobody's pressuring them or forcing them to do anything they don't want to do. It's free reign. And they're coming off picks and seeing Ty Jerome in front of them. It ain't good. Ty Jerome's good at a lot of things in the court. Sliding his feet and getting stops, they're not one of them. So right now you have guys naturally in positions that they're not supposed to be in. Max Strus, some of these guys, good players. I don't want these guys shooting 15 shots a game, 16 shots a game. This is not what I...
But when you heard that those guys were out, Hunter and Garland, all these guys, I was like, okay, this is Donovan Mitchell's chance. All year he took a back seat, right? His stats, everything, for the good of the team. This was his chance to go out and be like Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell, go out there and dominate. And he did. He gave you the crazy poster. He played unbelievable.
Wasn't enough.
And yeah, man, it's tough to get that performance from him at home and still lose. That's why it's so backbreaking.
Well, he needed a little help, and he received very little.
Yeah.
He played fantastic. Donovan Mitchell's done everything you could do. I don't know how much more you could do. His team didn't give him anything. What was Ty Jerome was like one for what was he?
I think it was like 1 for 14, 1 for 7. It was a rough one. It was a rough one.
1 for 14, 1 for 15. That's brutal. And then the game before wasn't any better. He had like 20 off 20 shots. I don't know what he had. It wasn't good. We went from raving, and I've been raving about Ty Jerome all year. So this isn't like a thing where we're being harsh on Ty Jerome. We love Ty Jerome.
There's a magnifying glass on anything you do in the postseason. Yeah, right? That's why we're like Haliburton. You know what? Here you go. And then this is why everything's just amplified.
It's part of the gig, man. And by the way, Matt's a part of Ty Jerome. He's had a fantastic year turning around his career. This is a guy who was almost out the league, has found his way to being one of the better backup guards in the NBA. Can't deny that. All the respects there. But backup being the key word. Now that Garland's out for like 3 weeks with a toe injury, now they got Ty Jerome in a position he's not supposed to be in.
Evan Mobley was injured last year during the playoffs also. Now he's missing time, and it's like, this is when we need you the most.
What's going on to him?
We got to look that up. But last year, that's 2 playoffs in a row.
So someone has to tell me the significance of Garland's toe. Is it broken?
Well, because I remember when you guys were on the Clippers, Blake had a toe injury that kept him out.
I've played through a broken toe. It was brutal.
Does it depend on which toe? I don't know.
Yes, absolutely. Of course. Absolutely, it depends on which toe. That's if it's like your main. What's the
big skipper?
Yeah, if it's like your main toe, I don't even know what to call that. My main
the thumb
toe.
Of your foot.
Yeah, if it's the thumb of your foot, you're in trouble. You can't play through like a broken. What the fuck do you call that? What is that? Your main toe. If you have any injuries with that, then I can. But if it's not broken, then we have to play through some pain here. Because, Darius, your team is free falling. You dropped 2 at home. You're about to go back to the ruckus. Indiana's known for one thing: playing their best basketball is in their home. Some guys are really good, road warriors. We'll get to that in a second about the C's. Pacers have historically dominated at home. They got a great home record. They got a great home court advantage. They're up 2-0. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
If Darius doesn't play, if Mobley doesn't play, if Hunter doesn't play, they're not winning unless they get a supersonic game again from Donovan Mitchell, and Ty Jerome and some of these other guys can have some good games as well. They got to play out of body. Otherwise, the offensive pace that the Pacers play with and how much points they put on the board, they can't compete, man. Even the Bucks, when they went without Dame, played their ass off, had a couple games within reach. One game, the last game was just abysmal to watch how they folded. But
I mean, even the Cavs, though, how they fold. Like,
it's hard to keep up with.
How many games have you watched in this playoffs where down the stretch, everything has to go wrong for one team and everything has to go right for one team just to squeak out like a 1-point win. And it's been happening.
It has happened. There's been bad closing.
This summer, should teams work on this offseason, like late game execution? And that OKC loss to the Nuggets, I know they won by 100 last night, but that OKC loss to the Nuggets, there were so many mistakes. The fouling of 3 in the backcourt. Jokic was out of the game. You couldn't get back in. You fouled. You got him back. Like, there were so many things that Mark Daigneault did wrong. And I was like, these are all the things that you talked about all season. You didn't believe in OKC fully because you didn't think they had a go-to second scorer. They were inexperienced, all their players, like Chet missing those free throws, right? He's never been in that situation. And their coach is still a young coach. Like, he made a couple of blunders at the end of that game. Everything you thought OKC, like you were worried about, happened in that game 1. And that's why the Nuggets won.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, is that something you guys work on during the season? Like late game execution?
It's tough to emulate pressure.
Yeah.
You can't face it until it's there.
Yeah.
The way you work on it is through the regular season, through actual games. You can't go to a practice and emulate a pressure situation.
Yeah.
You can work on execution and, if a team presses, things like that, without, you could put up scenarios in a practice and try to work on certain things. It's just so different when your adrenaline's pumping and you're in the real game and your mind's moving a million times. It's just different. We saw the Bucks have an atrocious breakdown versus the Pacers. They weren't going to win the series, especially without Dame, but they should have won that last game. I've never seen a team fold like that. Following that, the Pacers just pulled off another game like that last night versus the Cavs, or the other night versus the Cavs. They were down again by like 7. With like a minute or something left to go. They just figure out a way to win the game.
Yeah, when you get an offensive rebound on the free throw and you get a 4-3, it's like worst case.
Come on, man.
It's pretty insane.
You get the fucking rebound, you win the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like that's why I love the playoffs. Because one play, one moment, one little thing could be the difference between you winning and losing a game. Chet hits both free throws. Game over. Game over.
Yeah. And did you see why Chet was the one that got the ball? Jokic turned around. He was guarding the inbound. He turned around and made sure someone else didn't get it. And that's why they gave it to Chet. These little things. All these things have to go right just to win by 1 point. It's crazy. Why do you think these games are so close? People are blaming and all these crazy comebacks. People are saying it's the 3-point shot and how teams are never out of it. You know what I mean? Things like that. Is it just the
I don't
level
know.
of talent on both sides?
I think at the playoffs you get the best from everybody, and everybody's sets, man. It's not. Ignore that. When you're playing a team damn near 7 times, possibly 7 times, every single set the team runs. Every player's habit. The third game of me guarding Haliburton in a row, I know which way he likes to go. I know his move. I know his step back. It gets harder and harder to score and execute as the series goes on because the familiarity between both teams just continues to rise. So you're going to naturally get some good games. You also can tell a blowout that's going to come a mile away. We called that last night. Nuggets play the OKC. We're like, OKC going to beat the shit out of them. Yeah. Denver stole the first game. They already feel like, all right, we got one. We're good. We can go back home tied. Now we have home court advantage. Home court advantage has shifted towards us a little bit in here because we got 1-1 going back to Denver. We knew Thunder were going to come out. I didn't think it was going to be that nasty, but my God. So the playoffs sometimes can be predictable in those ways, but it's been the best playoffs we've seen in quite some time. We've had the most views. Let's talk about ratings for a second, just for 2 seconds, because everyone's been just hammering down on the NBA about the lack of ratings and the NBA's in a flux of indecision and the 3 points ruining the game. And bro, we've had the best ratings we've had in God knows when. I think the first round they said it was the best ratings in like 10 years. There you go. Like I said, it's a cycle.
Yeah,
it's like the stock market.
Until the finals is OKC Pacers, and then the ratings go down.
Can't happen.
Unless I got one way to make the ratings go up. Let Haliburton's dad sit courtside again. We got to mix it up a little bit. It's the only way those ratings are going to be good. Otherwise, you got Indiana, Oklahoma City. We got
to get Mr. Haliburton back on that court.
Yeah.
All right. And I want him to come in blazing. I don't want him to be quiet and secure. I want him to have that damn Haliburton flag wrapped around his neck.
A Mr. Haliburton cam just on him at all times.
I need a Haliburton cape around his shoulders, him running in with that thing just flying in the wind behind him. We need him back. Listen, man, what he did was what he did. They shouldn't ban him. For people who are like, they should ban him. Relax, man. Yeah. He went in the court and was waving his jersey and said something honest. It was unprofessional. It wasn't right. He apologized. Even Tyrese was like, my dad didn't do the right thing there.
Yeah.
Let's move on.